I'm Drea.
I'm Meg.
I'm Tina.
And I'm Jess.
And this is Pardon My Stash. Welcome to Pardon My Stash, a podcast about crafting within the fiber arts and how awesome it is.
Woohoo!
Before we get started on today's topics of interest, let's find out what everybody is working on today. Meg.
I am working, sort of. I've been really like, listen.
I just like, sort of,
Listen.
kind of, maybe.
As I said last year, at the beginning of the year is really, really bad for me with crafting and sticking to stuff. So let's be impressed that I've made it this far. No, it doesn't need a
No? You said let's be impressed. I figured we would.
let's be
I'm impressed.
Let's be
how about
cautiously optimistic that I'm still working on the same project. I'm working on Malvarosa by Candy Key of Expression Fiber Arts. I've been working on this for about a month. You can't tell because I'm getting about maybe a quarter of a row per day at this point on average. But you know what? I'm still doing it.
Well,
so
you're busy and
you're
still
doing it.
Yeah, it's
I
not
don't
like you're
have,
not working.
I
on
don't
it.
have the drive in the first few months. I actually was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day. We were talking about projects coming up. Mary, who listens to this podcast, and I showed her a shawl that I want to do, and I'm like, I have the yarn. I want to do it. And she's like, well, you should probably wait until after school because you want to avoid that early year curse. And I'm like, look at that. People remember that I do. I really struggle at the beginning of the year.
Everyone's keeping up with the lore.
Oh God, it is. It's so bad. But yeah, I am still working on it. I'm making it out of Critical Hit Dyes Warlock in Vishka. I'm still liking it. It's showing up all the cat hair. Unfortunately, like I'm gonna need to take a strong roller to this when I'm done. But so far so good. I'm just going. We'll see. Hopefully it'll get done. We'll see.
I'm proud of you for sticking with it, even if it's a stitch a day. I'm very proud of you.
It's been a rough couple of months. Like just
okay.
so much going on. And winter, I don't know. You would think winter is a good crafting time. And for me, it just is not at all.
Yeah, just with your teaching schedule and all that.
It's just a lot. Like, and then come summer, I'm like, okay, I can do stuff, but then it's hot. So go figure.
Goodbye,
I'm an anomaly.
Drea?
I am making a Bananasaurus.
I'm very excited because you have a half-done one. It looks like his legs.
It's got feet.
Oh, my goodness.
It does have feet.
I am very excited.
Your foray into crochet.
So I have made like 8 turtles. I don't have a pattern for it. It came with that kit. I keep making the turtles. They're making me really happy. Army of Turtles is coming. This is a crochet pattern.
I'm impressed that you're reading crochet pattern, man. I can barely read those at all. It is so hard.
I am very fortunate that this is a very simple pattern.
Amigurumis are usually written out.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
that's nice. Yeah, charts. No.
No charts.
Oh, that's nice.
Not doing charts. I'm not ready for that yet. But I only had to learn nothing. Actually, I already knew how to do all this.
That's awesome.
Hey.
So
Is this like a stuffy or is it
it's going to be a stuffy.
It's going to be a stuffy.
Christopher, actually, my brother Christopher sent me a picture of a Bananasaurus with no comment.
He would.
He would. And I decided that I was going to go online and I found the pattern. And whenever this is done, I'm just going to put it in the mail in a box with no comment. I'm not even going to tell him he's going to get it.
Perfection.
That's great.
A+.
A+.
No.
Yes. I had to rip this back like 2 or 3 times because one time 2 of the feet were inside out and then I fixed it, ripped it back, put them all on again, and I didn't actually turn the feet right side out.
Oh. So you ripped them out and put them back the same way? That sucks.
I did.
Oh, that sucks.
Whoops.
But I had a really fun moment with my therapist because I was on a Zoom with my therapist, and I was talking to him about the Bananasaurus as well, and he was like, "Oh no, that must be so heartbreaking." And I was like, "Actually, Bruce, look at this," and I just ripped it out with him watching me, and he goes, "Oh, that looks so cathartic," and I'm like, "Yeah, it is. Look at me, I'm learning stuff."
A+ therapeuticness.
Yeah, that's a lot there.
And I'm not afraid to like screw up, and then go back and do it again.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really a positive.
I know.
It is.
I'm waiting for that in knitting any day now. Any day.
It's easier. To
I think it helps that it comes up so quick.
It's a more controlled frogging than knitting.
Yes.
It's way more controlled.
Yes. I actually love frogging
Yeah.
and crochet. That
You can't accidentally mess up the whole project when you
You
frog
can't
crochet.
accidentally go down 3 rows on one stitch, but not any
Yep.
of the others.
Yeah.
Like there's none of that. You're just spiraling, man.
Oh, I love it so much.
It's a good
I want to
spiral.
frog all of my crochet projects.
You got to crochet a frog and then frog it because that would be hilarious.
I might actually.
Frog.
So this is the Bananasaurus crochet pattern by Emerald Rose Crochet. I am using Joann Fabrics Big Twist in Baby Bear.
Nice.
I love it. This is like super cozy.
And just so you know, in case you were wondering, the colorway is yellow, as you would expect.
excuse me, it is sunshine.
It's so squishy.
My bad, guys.
And I'm also using cream
Oh, okay.
For the
yeah.
inside of the banana.
for the banana. Yes. Oh,
The saurus part, if you will.
the sort
The
of.
source part.
I made banana leaves. Oh my god! I already made I made the peel. I'm very excited.
This thing is going to be big.
Listen,
like, I'm
gonna
looking
be
at it. It's
huge.
going to
Yeah.
be really big.
Yeah.
You know what the best thing about these things are is you can change their sizes just on the weight of yarn you use.
Yes.
So you could totally just make a mini one.
You can make a mini one, or you can make a
Actually-
gargantuan one.
I made a mistake and I bought really bad yarn for it. Like it looked like it was little yarn and it looked like it was all held together, and then I got it home and I started working with it and it was like 12 ply.
Oh,
And I was like, why did they make this?
that
Like I wasn't the one that bought
that
it.
seems excessive though.
Someone else's fault.
I know. I made all of the banana peels for that one and decided that I hated working with that yarn. So
That's
I
fair.
I got the big one. I got the big yarn instead.
There you go.
So it's going to be a big Bananasaurus. I'm very excited.
Jess?
I am still working on the catnip pullover by Andrea Rangel. It's slow going. My crafting like hyperfixation I had last year died.
Damn
And
you, ADHD.
It did. It
Died in
died.
a flood of Legos.
I mean, sort of.
In a
yeah.
flood of Legos.
It did. So I'm working at it. I'm trying to at least keep it, the embers going on it. So I'm getting some stuff done, but it's slow going. Yeah, I like the crochet blanket is probably not going to be done in time for fair. I'm still working on that too. I considered working on that tonight, but that I have to read a chart for, and I didn't feel like doing that right now. I mean, I'm reading a chart for this one, but it's a color work chart and it's easier to read. So I figured that was the better plan for tonight. But yeah, so I am slowly working on stuff and keeping it going. And it's just one of those things that happens when the fixation just dies.
Yeah. I'm sure everybody with the neurodivergence right now is going, I feel that. And it stinks when you're in the slump.
It's so inconvenient.
Yep.
You?
You,
Tina?
You. I have a name.
I know.
I know, I'm kidding. I am working on the Northward Beanie by Tin Can Knit. I'm using sugar maple fibers in their bulky single ply in colorway sugar maple. And I'm almost done with it actually, because I'm on like the last cable before the decreases. So I should start decreasing soon. Yeah, and again, I brought this because like Jess mentioned with her project, this is just easier to work on while we're podcasting. I have paused on the wedding shawl that I mentioned a few months back, and that's just because the wedding ceremony piece, like they're married, but the ceremony piece got postponed to like the fall, so I have more time with that. So I'm just gonna like, if anyone was like,
fair.
oh my god, the wedding shawl, I'm like, no, I have a lot more time now. And I have like a bunch of projects set up with like yarn and bags and ready to go, but I just need a quick win right now. So I'm going to do this one first. That's it for me. Shout out to our sponsor, Jimmy Bean's Wool, for continuing to support us in our podcasting journey. You can check them out at jimmybeanswool.com. And for more information about our projects, patterns, and yarns, and also to find more stuff about us, we have a bunch of different information that you can find on different pages, as well as our blog that has details about every single episode we do in different posts. So if you're looking for that information, you can find that there at our website at partinmystash.com. All right, I feel like we have a lot to talk about this week, only because there's just been a lot of happenings in the fiber world anyway. And before we get started, I just want to take a moment of silence for the U.S.-based craft store retailer Joann's. They were recently bought by a liquidator, and they are going to officially close down for good. Pour one out for the Joann stores.
Meg, where's your mom going to get all of her?
Oh no, my mom moved on. She buys it all online at this point.
Oh, good.
Or there's actually this really massive fabric store in Maine where she goes on retreat. And because I said the same thing, trust me. I was like,
What are you going to do?
"You good, mom?" And she used to work at Joann's years ago. Like she picked it up as a second job when I was younger, and she was really good at it. But, you know, she probably spent most of her paycheck there. So, as we all would if we worked in a yarn store.
Yeah.
So no, she does at this, because I said the same thing, and she, you know, after she finished calling me a smartass, she told me she buys most of it online at this point. So she's good. But yeah, but it is kind of like that. She did say it's going to be a lot more of a pain in the neck to buy, like, for example, she buys a lot of white thread for her quilting.
Yeah.
And that's something like you could easily jet into any single Joann's and grab a whole bunch of them. But now, you know, buying it online is you got to wait. So,
there's not really a lot of like fabric type shops out there.
Yeah, I don't even like, I'm thinking about Michaels, and I think Michaels has embroidery floss, but I don't think it has thread.
Oh, by the way, Michaels was quoted about the Joann situation by saying, "I win."
Wait, where was that?
No, I just made that up.
I'm like, wait a minute.
I don't know if you guys ever heard about the whole like made up story of Joann and Michael being a married couple and then they divorced and made two
I
separate.
did not hear that.
Okay, so there is this random story that I've seen on the internet thrown about a couple times where the theory and lore behind Joann's and Michael's is that they were once a married couple. They fought over what a craft store should be, and Joann's made their own, and Michael's made their own, and they are now divorced. So,
it's
again,
funny because,
Michael's is pretty happy.
The major difference between the two is that Joann had fabric,
Correct.
and Michael's does not.
Correct.
They both have about the same other departments. Like I'm trying to think about something that one has that the other doesn't.
Michael's has a lot more kits. So like if you want
that's true.
random like kits about like I don't know, beading or like embroidery kits, like all those kind of things. They have a bunch of those. I would say more selection than Joann, but they have no fabric department.
No, there is no fabric. And honestly, I was like kind of disappointed in their embroidery section as well. Like they have the floss.
Yeah.
If you need floss or needles, like great. But if you're looking for like patterns, they don't have those. Michael's doesn't.
Even the hoops, they don't have that many sizes.
They don't have a ton of different size of hoops either. So I'm feeling kind of a way though, because like I don't really go to Joann's that often, but it was a big part of my growing up because we went there all the time when I was a kid. Because that was before we had the internet and before my mom discovered online shopping. And we went to Joann's and we went to this place called the Fabric Place, which is long out of business. But it's kind of sad. Like
pouring out for the cosplay days. Where could you go and get some fabric real quick, real cheap?
Oh, those days.
Man.
Listen,
Where can you find something that kind of looks like leather but isn't?
It's
because I don't
that's
want to wear leather all day.
affordable.
And is definitely on clearance.
You go
because
to the
nobody
curtain
else
section,
is
by the way.
reasonably buying
Or the
them.
upholstery.
Oh my gosh, the upholstery
Yeah.
section. Oh, those
Their
were the
foam.
days.
Yep.
You get their foam.
Yeah. That is too bad.
But I have to say, I'm making out like a bandit right now because everything's on
bet.
sale.
Yeah.
And I am getting all the big twist.
Yeah.
I am.
That's good.
Do you know how many plushies I have in me? Because
that's
I
good.
don't know yet.
That's good. I mean,
Don't ask me what I'm going to do with them because I don't know.
who cares?
Just going to make
Who
them.
cares what you listen? Do you know how much stuff Jess makes and it never goes anywhere? She's just having fun making
I'm
it.
just making it.
Like, it's okay.
Piling up.
I am running out of
Doesn't-
room for turtles, but you know what?
Sorry, Frank.
I still
The
gotta
army is growing.
I still got to make them.
You still gotta make them. You should
But
start
Frank,
randomly
I have
leaving
all
them
this
places.
yarn. And he's like, but
Oh,
you
that's
could
a
stop
good idea.
buying the yarn. But Frank.
I don't think Frank would tell me not to buy more yarn, but I'm definitely buying more yarn. Which
I feel like
means
he'd be
that
like,
there will
so
be
there's
more."
a lot of turtles in here. I feel like that would be like the extent. He wouldn't be telling you not to make them. He would just bring up
like-
I like
that there's
Meg-
a lot of turtles.
I like Meg's idea about just leaving turtles random places when you have too many turtles.
Could be.
I'm just imagining like you go into the bank
And there's
to,
just a
like
turtle
No,
at
no,
the
no, no.
teller.
You go into the bank, you ask the teller, and then you're just like, "That's for you," and then just walk away. No explanation.
Do you know what? I think if the turtles were small,
Yeah,
I would do that if
Tiny
the turtles
turtles.
were small.
You
Yeah.
have big turtles.
I have big
they're big.
turtles.
Okay, but that's even funnier.
That's even funnier.
Pull this
This is-
massive turtle out of your bag. This is yours now.
This is for you.
What you
be
really
fun.
do to really freak him out is like if you know that's where you're going, put like embroider the bank logo on it real quick before you go in.
If you want to
This is
drive
for
your
you.
waiter nuts at the restaurant, instead of leaving a tip, you could leave a turtle.
Or leave it with the tip.
Yeah,
I would leave it
better.
with the tip.
Put
Better.
the turtle on the tip.
Yeah, don't sans the tip. Just
No.
put turtle and then a tip.
Oh my god.
These turtles are gonna go places.
Hey.
I don't know where they're going,
But they're going.
That's where they're gonna be.
And with this liquidator, I'd also like to point out that they are the type not to do. You're not going to see. I don't think there's going to be a 75 or 80% off on the yarn. It's just not going to happen because this liquidator enjoys going to about 40-50%, and then at that point they close everything down, and then they're going to bulk sell to like either an Ocean State job lot or an Ollie's or some kind of bulk liquidator that will, it's one. Think of, I don't know what you have near you, but it's basically the store that you go to that has all the odds and ends from other stores,
Discount
overstock and
store,
stuff like
yeah.
that, some kind of discount store. So you could also hold out for that too. I know Ocean State job lot tends to end up with a lot of Lion Brand. I actually randomly found Lion Brand there all the time. So, but if you're hoping to see like this huge massive sale, I don't think you're going to see it on higher ticket items that can sell well at other places like the yarn. The fabric, I don't think so either, but I think like you're going to see the 75% off on like furniture or like storage things or like things that are harder to sell in other capacities. So,
Well, I think too, like thinking back to the Borders liquidation back in 2011, and yeah, right.
No.
And a lot of people like they kept holding out, saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna wait." And by the time things actually did like start hitting rock bottom prices, like everything was gone.
right. Yeah.
Like I remember going there with a friend, and people walked in, they're like, "Oh, no Game of Thrones." It's like, yeah, dude. Like that would have been the first thing to go. Like I remember hearing people saying that, and it was just, of course it's all gone. Like people are going to go in there, and even if it's not at rock bottom price yet, they're going to grab it now.
Even
while it lasts.
the 25% that they got going right now is still a pretty
That's
significant
a decent price, yeah.
discount based on that they usually have 20%. So your 25 is still better than what you would normally do.
Right.
I am very happy getting all this big
especially if you're
twist
going to
baby
use
there.
it. If you're going to use it and you know you're going to use it, you might as well just go now.
Yeah.
But if you're just buying to buy, then just you might as well just wait and see what's left over. But I'm telling you right now, you're not going to be happy with the leftovers.
Yeah.
But yeah, pour one out. Joann.
And be nice to the people who work there.
Yes,
because
please.
Yeah.
that's a hard time for them.
Don't be going in there demanding things. Okay, they're just trying to live their lives, guys. Just let them be nice.
Yeah, it's a tough time
Lead
for
with
everybody.
kindness. Lead with kindness, please.
It's really hard to continue working knowing that you're not going to be working there. much
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We all just need to lead with kindness in general. Now that we've somberly gotten sad, I don't know how to transition from that. How do I transition
I am
from
mixed
that?
feelings though.
What's your mixed feeling?
Like I'm sad that they're going out of business, but I'm also thrilled that I'm getting such a good deal.
No, I mean, like, I'll be honest. I really just personally very rarely go to Joann's. The only time I go to Joann at this point is like when they had the sale on the storage stuff, like stuff that I know I'm definitely going to use. I'm not buying Joann yarn. I just, to be honest, from my perspective, I end up with a lot of that yarn at Yarn Saver. It sells, people buy it.
Yeah.
But if I want it, like honestly, I could probably just dip into my own inventory if I really wanted to. But it's pretty big box yarn ends up being a lot of the closeout and sells that I get at Yarn Saver. So I'm not running to Joann's for yarn. But like I said, if you have something that you use, like Drea does with her crochet, then go there, pick it up now. Don't wait, because it's probably going to end up. I wouldn't be surprised if it's already starting to sparse out.
End up at my
Yeah.
house.
We'd been talking about. I wanted to ask a question to our listeners, because we'd been talking about doing like these mini bonus episodes. So sometimes we get questions about how some of our separate business entities work, such as yarn dyeing or pattern designing, just how to podcast sort of thing. So basically what we are asking is if you guys are interested in learning about either how to do a podcast, or questions that would be prevalent to Critical Hit Dyes or Yarn Saver or pattern design in general, graphic art design, feel free to send those questions over through our website. You can just use the regular contact form at the bottom of the page and let us know what those questions are, and we may use them for short bonus episodes that we will release through the regular podcast feed. They'll be marked as bonus so that you know that they are a bonus episode, and there'll be a slightly different format, probably more in like an interview style, where we're talking with, if it's say Critical Hit Dyes, we'll be talking with Meg and Jess and asking them different questions that have come up about how their business functions. So send those questions in at your leisure. I had posed questions to our Discord. If you don't know that we have a Discord, we have a Discord. It's basically, if you don't know what Discord is, it's an online forum that you can go on, and there's different threads and channels that you can go into and talk about different topics.
For people our age, think old school chat rooms.
Yes, chat rooms, or even just like forums. Like, remember, like just forums in general. Like that's
Back
very
in the
similar.
day.
So we had the Discord when we had a membership system. We don't have a membership system anymore, but we had no reason to get rid of the Discord because it doesn't cost us anything to keep it up. So if you want to get to our Discord, if you go to our website, either at the top of the page or the bottom of the page, there is a Discord button. If you click on that, it will open up our server. You're only going to see one channel if you haven't been given a listener role, and it's called Open General. And all you need to do is go into Open General and say, I am a human, I am not a robot. And that's basically the sanity check to make sure that you're not a spam bot.
That's exactly what a robot would say.
I know. It's fine. I mean, you could even say like, oh, I really enjoyed this, whatever. It just let us know that you're a real person. And then we basically edit your role, give you a listener role, and then all that does is just opens up all the other channels that you can chat in. We have a channel for part of my stash content, for the make-alongs, random topics like yarn and patterns and what we're working on, like different whips. But in the Discord, we had asked about like a month or so ago about things that our listeners would be interested in us talking about. And so think of this as like a Q&A to a degree. But some of these I think we could do full episodes on, but some of these I think we can kind of gather together and chat about it today. So I'm going to throw out some of these suggestions and questions, and you guys let me know what you think. All right. So I'm going to do this one first because it's fun. I love llamas and alpacas. Can you take Drea to an alpaca farm and live stream it?
Yes.
We need to.
Is that even a real question?
No, I don't think it's a real question. I just thought
I'm going to take that as a heavy suggestion, and yes, absolutely, sign me up.
Yeah, we have to locate an alpaca farm. If you're an alpaca farm or a llama farm in Connecticut, like send us a DM or a message so that we can get Drea over to your farm. We will proudly advertise your farm.
I will happily bother all of your small farm animals.
There's one
Large farm animals.
on like the border of like Morris and Litchfield. And I'm talking like 4, 5, 6. No, it was longer than that. Mariel wasn't alive yet. Years ago, we were driving.
Oh.
And we were literally driving down this road and we passed this sign. And I mean, I like slammed on the brakes. And we both look at each other and we're like, did that say yard sale or yarn sale?
We never reverse so fast.
And we like turned that car around and we went back and it definitely said yarn sale. And we're like, well, we're going to that. And it was an alpaca farm. So I clearly couldn't touch or buy any of the yarn. But we did get to go see the alpacas, which was fun. I don't know if they're like open to the public most days though. I think they're not. But that was so funny. I mean, both of us saw it at the same time. And when I hit the brakes without even saying anything to her, and then we both looked at each other like.
There was one time we were there and they proposed us buying it.
Yeah, but they wanted like
Millions.
a
The whole
lot
farm?
of money. Yeah, they were so they weren't like, I don't think they were like ready to sell or anything like that, but they were talking about like someday. But they also proposed an amount of money that we would never have.
Yes.
So I just have this visual of every time they have a customer. Hello, do you have millions of dollars to buy our farm?
I mean, you think about it probably was worth it. I mean, you think about the area and the number of alpacas.
It was a really nice
and-
property too.
Right. So
Yeah.
probably completely worth it.
Girl,
Yeah, the
I don't got
yarn-
that money.
The yarn that they were selling was inside the house.
Yeah.
And the house.
Yeah, house was nice too. Like we went in. I got to look at it, couldn't touch it. But yeah, I could definitely see. I mean, you think about it also, you already have the stock and they're fully grown to the point where you're able to shear them and get the wool. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of money in that. So yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
That was a day.
That sounds like a fun fiber dream that I cannot afford. So
What would be really affordable is just visiting one.
yes, we can visit.
We are down for that.
Yeah, we will put it in as a note, and we're gonna look at our calendar and figure out a day we all can go and check that out. All right. So other comments that came up, the spouse cameos and interviewing Frank and Pat about their yarn knitting knowledge. And I think we chatted about this off recording, and the idea of interviewing Frank and Pat is kind of hysterical. So I think that's definitely something that we can do. But again, we would have to like plan it and figure out when we can get them up here to start recording. There was also a lot of questions about interchangeable needles. I kind of want to upgrade from what I have now, but I am also hesitant to shell out for a premium set if it doesn't make that much difference in comfort or outcome. Another one, I'd like to know more about interchangeable needle sets and any unique fiber contents. Love to hear more about specific parts of knitting, especially needles. I'd like to hear an option on needle sets. I'm thinking of buying a short set for hats. Do sock sets exist? So a lot of needles. Everyone's got questions about needles, people. So
Needles are tough because they're so individual.
Yeah.
Like, and I think you don't really get to know what you like unless you've tried a whole lot of different kinds. If I was ever going to give anybody advice about buying a needle set, it would be try out a whole bunch of different solo brands And and not splurge on a big set until you know you like the feel, you like the points, you like the weight. Some needles are a lot heavier than others.
All four of us have very different needle preferences.
Yeah. I mean, Jess and I share needles a lot just because it's what we have, but she would prefer sharper needles if given the option. And I don't, because I'm a push knitter, not a pull knitter, and I just wind up hurting myself.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah, it honestly, for me, I'm not loyal to any specific set. It really just depends on what I'm working on. So I feel like I have, if you have a very specific project you're trying to work on, I could give you a recommendation, but based on what I like. But I'm also, how did you reference it? The difference between you and Jess and how, oh my God.
Push versus pull.
Yeah, push versus pull. Yeah. So I'm definitely more of a pull. So I would, there's certain sets that make sense in my case than others.
And just like for the record, when I say like a push knitter versus a pull knitter, what I'm talking about is like when you finish the stitch, you either like kind of slip the stitch off the needle with your finger and like pull it off, or you push the needle
down
through. I push it. And I found that out the hard way when I was knitting baubles with an extremely sharp tip. And I ended up having to like bandage my finger because it had like a callus from the amount of times I pushed the sharp point to it. So I know I brought that up on a podcast episode like 2.5 years ago, just for people that are sitting like, what the hell is a push versus a pull knitter? Like, what is going on?
Look it up. It's actually really interesting because that there's a difference. Like,
I never thought about it until
I looked it up because I'm like, how are you a pull? Like, how do you get that to work? You need some really slidey needles for that, and people do it, and it's so fast. And I am also a push knitter, which is why I don't know why I like the sharp needles. I just have calloused fingers. I
feel like with Portuguese style, it's just more. It lends itself to pull. You just don't, I don't know why, but it actually, to do the push part, it would actually put my hands in an awkward position.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a lot of like what you're used to. If I had to, I mean, honestly, if I had to pick a set, Carbons is my favorite. The Knitter's Pride Carbons. I'm an aficionado. I've had 2 sets of them. I just got another one for Christmas and I was pumped. Shout out to my mother and father-in-law. But I just like those. I like the feel of them. They've got a midi tip, so it's not too sharp. It's not too blunt.
They're not bad.
Actually. I like them.
They're
yeah.
Good.
And I don't think that they're super heavy, and they're certainly not slippery or sticky. So that would be my choice. But that's me.
I usually get the meditation lace, I think, from Knitters. Was it
Knitter's Pride? Yeah.
I have held the, what is it? It's like the Lantern Moon needles, and they're so nice, but they're way outside my budget. So I don't actually own any of those, but they're a nice feel. I would say if you have the option, if the place you're going to gives you the option to hold the needle, see what they feel like in your hand. See, even too, sometimes they will put like a little, like yarn out there, like knit a row or something with them. See how they work for you, if that's an option. Honestly, that's why my crochet hook that I got, they did that, and now I'm completely forgot the name of the company. I'll try and do it for the blog. But they had a whole selection, and they like handmade the handles. So they were all a little bit different. So they encouraged you to hold each one and kind of crochet with it a bit to see if you like the grip, if you like the feel. And it was really cool. And they were also interchangeable hooks, which is nice. So you get the handle, and then you could buy the hook heads to go interchange with it. So that was neat. So yeah, if you find a place that gives you an option before, because sets are expensive, see if you try it, see if you like it before you commit to a whole set, because oftentimes they are expensive, but if you like them, they are definitely worth it, in my opinion.
Now I'm just sitting there thinking about like yarn stores. Why haven't you gotten on like a sampler box of needles, like of all of the brands that you offer.
Oh, that is
like,
such a good idea.
right? Like offer like, I mean, I imagine it wouldn't
Even
be
if
too
you
cheap,
took the
but like,
even if
yeah.
they all have like those little singles.
Right.
Even if they took this just one signal of each in like a size 8, just to be, or 6 or something,
Right.
just to like appease everybody.
And just and let I'm just thinking
do a
about
row.
that because it's so funny how like back when I first started knitting, I bought like all my needles were wood. I can't stand knitting with wooden needles now, but at the time that was what I thought, I would like. You really don't know what you're going to like until you start knitting with it. So or crocheting or whatever the heck you're doing.
I swear by the squares.
I know you love this. I can't stand the squares.
Love
I
the
had
square
one set, the
needles.
cubics, right? They're
Yep.
called cubics.
I think they're knitter's pride.
I bought one set because I was desperate and that was what the store had and the size and the length of the cable I needed. And I only was able to knit I think I only had to knit 10 rows on it before I split for the sleeves. And I was like, God, this is awful. I hate this so much. I think I gave it to you actually.
Maybe.
I think I did because I was like, I will never
'cause
use this
I tried
again.
it and I didn't like my
No.
hands recoiled at it.
But that's the,
they
again,
sit in my hand
but
weird.
you love it. I mean, that's the
Love
thing. It's like,
you got the
everybody's
like
got
it,
preferences.
I like cubics for certain. Again, I'm like project specific, but like I like cubics for certain type of things too.
Yeah.
Not for super bulky.
It's personal. it's almost like asking people what glasses brand they wear or sneakers or something like that. Like
I would say that my most versatile set that I can use for like the most amount of projects and it doesn't drive me nuts is my Chiagus.
yeah, they're pretty versatile.
There's a couple of reasons why I like them as a set is because their range is a lot bigger. So like my Chiagu set starts at 2
oh yeah.
and it goes up to 15.
Oh that is a
it's a
big that's a
big-
big
Nice.
range. Usually
Yeah.
you don't get a range
No,
that
it's
big.
usually 4 to 11.
yeah. Or like 1 to 5 or something
Yeah.
like
Yes,
that if they're
yeah.
doing the lower sizes.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm sure someone's going to tell me that that's like called the full set or something, but there is a set from Chiagu that lets you do that wide range. And the reason why I like it a lot is because the case that it comes in is extremely compact. So it's not bulky. So if say you were traveling and you don't know what size needles you're going to need for specific things and you want to work on multiple projects, that's probably the most versatile set that you can take with you and you'll have the most needle sizes that you would use. And then in terms of I do like wood needles for certain things. I've talked about this before. But Knit Picks, I like Knit Picks needles. And they have a cubic set and I really like their cubic set. They also have just a regular rounded set. But if I do the rounded set, I like the short tips. Especially, I don't know why, even if I'm working on a project that doesn't call for it, I have enough room to use a regular size needle, I'll use the short tips. But yeah, it is very, very, very specific.
I can't stand the
you.
short tips.
See, I know, that's what I mean. It's so
It's all
specific.
personal. It's so
yeah,
personal.
yeah, and you're not going to know unless you try. So even if you have some friends that have different sets because they have different preferences, ask your friends to hey, can I
Yeah.
try with your Knitter's Pride and with your Chiagus and with your and also shout out to Addy Turbos. Nobody's talked about Addy Turbos. Addy Turbos, I'm using them right now I like them for super bulky. They're much more blunt, so they don't destroy these single ply bulky things. Think of a Malabriga Rasta. You you don't want sharp needles for that. It's gonna destroy it. But yeah, Addy Turbos are great for. I ended up getting one of each of the fixed cord in the 16-inch length because I do so many hats. And I like to do the hats with the Addy Turbos. So but again, project specific hats, Addy Turbos. Everything else is different. But yeah, so I hope that answers your needle question in some kind of capacity for all those who asked us about needle set questions. But long story short, go ask your friends, try something out, ask the yarn store to try stuff out. Let's see. There was someone who wanted to ask us about our craft focus or intentions for the year. That might be something that we want to talk about at a longer length, or if you guys want to chat about it now, we can.
I think this year I'm just taking things as they come. Obviously, I have picked up crochet. I'm enjoying it. But I'm not setting goals for myself because I fail miserably every time I set a goal for myself. So, I don't know.
My intention is just to enjoy. So kind of in a similar boat.
Yeah.
No hard deadlines, no hard nothing. I'm just I want to make a hat today. I'm going to make a hat today. I don't set the project goal on Ravelry anymore. It's too stressful.
No.
I don't want to.
I forget to update my Ravelry, if I were honest.
Yeah.
And I only update my Ravelry anymore if I finish something.
Same.
That way I can just put it all in once and mark it as 100%. And then little shot of dopamine because I finished something.
That's fair.
Makes that portfolio look a little bit more up to date.
Yeah.
I get it.
I'm trying really hard to be very intentional this year. One of the things I really struggle with every year is like lots of startitis, casting on a bunch of projects because I'm not satisfied with how things are going out, or I get distracted, or honestly, in later years, it's been like, oh, I dyed a new color and now I want to knit with that color and throw everything else aside and focus on that instead. And that results in a lot of projects getting started and a minimum of projects getting finished. And I find that very frustrating. So a lot of what I've been trying to do this year, well, kind of like the conversation I had with Mary a few weeks ago, is if I really, really want to knit something and I'm really excited about knitting it, putting it off until I am absolutely positive that I am ready to knit it, instead of just casting on the minute that I think of it, the minute something crosses my mind. I've also been trying really hard to knit from stash this year instead of, you know, what I did last year and the year before, which was like, hey, Jess, can you dye me up a whole batch of this? Because I want to knit with that now. I do have that shawl project that I want to do. I have the yarn that needs to be dyed for it. But I'm putting it off until I am ready to do it. And honestly, like I started embroidering over the Christmas holiday. I am enjoying that. I'm trying not to put too much pressure on myself to do it. Because I found in the last few years, I do put a lot of pressure on myself with knitting, you know, to knit to a deadline, or, you know, you've cast this on, now you have to get it done. The nice thing about the embroidery is that, unlike a knitting pattern, every time I pick it up, I don't have to go back and like, look, where was I? What row was I on? Like, it's pretty easy to tell what I was working on or what needs to be done. So I find it a lot easier to pick it up whenever I feel like it. And I haven't been putting the pressure on myself to like finish projects, and they're actually getting done. I finished one whole embroidery sampler. I'm about 3/4 of the way done with the second one. And I've just been kind of doing that as I feel like it. And it's actually been really helpful for like the pressure is just, you know, I pick it up when I feel like it, if I want to. And it's nice. And I'm trying not to, like, if this is done in time for Rhinebeck, that's cool. But if it's not, that's okay. I didn't have a sweater last year either. I wore a shawl.
Guys.
Yeah.
What if I give all the turtles away at Rhinebeck?
I thought you were going to say for a minute, like, what if I wear the turtles at Rhinebeck?
Oh my God, turn them into a scarf.
Oh my
Turtle
God.
scarf. Really big turtles, guys.
Turtle sweater.
I'm not doing a turtle.
But you don't have to make it permanent. Like she's saying with the scarf, you could literally just like pin them together.
I will literally die.
No, here's what you do. Okay. You get one long string and you thread the turtles on them. And as people show up, you pull them off and give them.
And hand them away.
It's a shrinking
We could put
scarf.
like TY tags on them with names. You get Bernie.
Oh my God, I should name them.
You should name them.
No,
But then you'll want to keep them.
Yeah, that's the tough part.
Oh no. I will enjoy giving
them
away
away.
these turtles with these weird ass names.
I love
I'm not
it.
even going to preview what's in my head.
Sweet.
Like,
I can't
so
wait.
Excited.
Pea soup.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be so funny, guys.
Tony the Tiger.
Man, who knows? Who knows how many turtles I'm going to make? Man, I also really hope that I do not lose the turtle spark, because that will be very disappointing.
So here's the thing, though. Now you can't really make enough turtles because there will be plenty of turtles to give.
There will be plenty of turtles.
So now you don't have to feel guilty about making tons of turtles.
I won't. I mean, I wasn't going to feel guilty. I mean,
I hear you though on the Rhinebeck feeling though. I did that
Yeah.
last year. If I finish it, I finish it. If
I finish it, I finished. I mean, towards the end when I was like a week out from Rhinebeck, I'm like, okay, I literally have 2 rows left on this shawl. If I don't finish this shawl in time, I'm going to be really ticked with myself. But I'm also not going to I'm not going to stress myself out. Like, this is a hobby. I had my years of saying like, my goal is to finish this many projects, or my goal is to learn this many skills. And I'm not going to lie. My mind is in so many directions right now. I don't have the
wherewithal.
I don't have the space to be chastising myself because I didn't knit 2 rows today.
Yeah.
I'm just not there right now.
Yep.
And I really don't want to be there again. So
Fair.
that's where I'll be.
Jess?
I mean, if I finish this sweater, that'd be awesome.
I think you're going to finish that sweater.
But look at my smug cats.
And that's why I think you're going to finish it, because you love the cats and you want to wear it.
I don't know what I thought you were making, but it wasn't
I'm
a
kind of
sweater.
curious what you did think she was making.
I don't know, like maybe it was a cowl or something. Or
I am enjoying the ghost cats on the back.
Well, she made the sweater of swords a couple of years ago, and she vastly underestimated the amount of weight she was going to lose. And she's tried to wear that sweater since, and it's basically like
a bag.
It's
I mean, it's off the shoulder.
I heard that's in this year.
So she doesn't technically have a knitted sweater that fits her that she's made. So
Yeah.
all the other sweaters you made were like little kid sweaters.
I don't know why I didn't realize that was a sweater.
Yeah.
Because Jess doesn't knit sweaters very
I
often.
usually don't,
Like she
but-
knit the sweater of swords, and she knit a couple little ones for Mariel. And
But I saw the
it's
cats.
great.
yeah,
It's great. I love it. I just
nobody thinks of Jess in sweater.
It's a cowl. I mean, it could have been a cowl.
It's fair. It would have been a really big
especially
cowl.
last time we got together, it was like in the shape
Small.
of
Right,
smaller.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I've gone through a couple increase rows since then.
Oh, yeah.
So
I see that now.
She's got little Francis's
I
on
got
her
little
sweater.
Little Francis's, little ties, little Tristans. Look, I have orange cats. Okay.
Guys, I am astounded at my inability to pay attention to anything.
That's all good.
Well, on a completely different note, someone's still waiting on the mashup of every time the cast declared jeans.
I mean, that's on you.
That is on me. It is on me. And I just want to let this person know. I totally forgot about that. I really
That's
did.
funny.
I forgot about it until I was actually listening to that episode the other day when because I was taking a walk and I was listening to that episode when the cats ate the shawl, and we talked about the jeans.
All right, so I'll put that on my to-do list to go through all those episodes.
Get the
and find
jeans.
the jeans. Man, I hope you guys enjoy that because that's gonna take a lot of editing.
That's going to be a holiday special.
You know what? That might be the holiday special, the whole thing.
And now the sound of Drea saying jeans.
No, everybody. Everybody.
Oh, that's right. 'Cause a lot of us said it too.
I bet you could do it into a Christmas like song.
Oh, like Jingle Bells or
Yeah.
something? Mm.
Jeans.
Jeans. Anyways, thanks for that laugh because that made me giggle because I totally forgot about that. Let's see. Someone mentioned that they really enjoy the Would You Rather and also the Would You Rather episodes, which we got to enjoy our first episode back with Drea doing kind of a this or that, which was a similar kind of feel. And then the other one was pattern and design ethics. They really liked us when we talked about that. I don't know how we would extend that further, but we could definitely, I don't know. You guys tell us if there's like a different type. If you want us to talk about ethics, I guess we could talk more about that if you want. I feel like it might be us just going, like just for 10 minutes.
Scream into the void.
That's it. That's all we're going to do. This one says, can we talk more about picking wools and yarns?
Yeah, I think that's like
Back to personal preference again.
No, I don't think it's back to personal preference. I think it's what you're making.
Yeah.
Like,
Because certain yarns are going to be better for certain projects.
right. And certain yarns are going to be awful for certain projects.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I think the one like definite is if you are purchasing yarn and if the feel of it, like the softness, makes a difference, check out the micron count of the yarn. A micron is it's a unit of measurement equal to 1/1,000,000th of a meter. The micron count of wool is the average diameter of the wool fibers. So the lower the micron count, the finer and softer the wool is going to be. So if you have a high micron count, that's going to be good for like your more durable projects. But maybe not great for next to skin soft. The caveat for a lower micron project is that is going to have a higher tendency to pill
And fall apart.
and fall apart on repeated washings. So, you have some people that are like, oh, I always want like the lower micron. I want everything like next to skin soft. And that can be great, especially for things like accessories, something you're going to wear like right next to your skin. But if you were buying the same kind of yarn for everything, you're going to be disappointed at some point, depending on the construction of the garment that you are knitting with.
And how you use it.
Right.
It's like I have very large arms. If I create a garment for myself with extremely soft yarn, I will have holes in my armpits and under my triceps within 2 or 3 uses because it's just going to fall. I have so much abrasion from the amount of flesh, for lack of a better term, that's going back and forth. So if you don't have that issue, then you're probably not going to encounter a similar kind of issue. But that's what to keep in mind. You have to really think about who's using it, how they're going to use it, if they're able to, like the maintenance piece of it, and then that should all factor into what you end up making. So if I'm making a sweater for my kids, it is 100% machine washable acrylic because I just can't. I'm not. I don't mind if I do wool, but my kids won't wear it because it's too itchy. So it has to be like some kind of soft blended acrylic that's machine washable because they're gonna destroy it. And if I want it to last more than like a wash, I need it because they're running around. And if they tear it up, I'm not going to die because I'm going to be like, it's okay, it's all right, So really, but then again, you make something for yourself. You're going to take care of it. You're going to like wash it, like do all the hand washing and make sure that it's cared for in a good way. So maybe then you can use that softer yarn and something a little bit more delicate. So.
Yeah, it's unfortunately it's not as cut and dry as like this is always the yarn you should be using. This is the preference you should have. I mean, you always go by preference. I mean,
you could.
Right, exactly. Like if you want to, like, to be perfectly honest, I love Rios. I love Malabrigo Rios. You could make a sweater out of that. It's going to be super soft. It's going to be, washable. Rios does also, it's very, very soft. It has a tendency to pill. If you're okay with that, like, do it. Like, don't let somebody tell you not to, obviously, but be aware of what you're doing before you go into it, and what the caveats are for those things. Kind of like, using a single ply to make socks.
Oh, don't do that.
Right. And well, some people might want to, but at the same time, it's not going to wear as well. Or using a sock yarn for tall socks that doesn't have nylon in it. Those are going to fall off your calves.
Or using a sock yarn to make a 3X top.
Pour one out for the Silva cami that never got finished. Gave up, man.
It is. You can in theory use any yarn you want, but
you do have free will that way.
Aware.
Do it. Let the inside thoughts take over.
But be aware of, what could happen. Being aware of what the yarn will do. And again, here's where I'm going to say make a swatch. Make a swatch.
I have gotten better at swatching.
You have. Yeah.
On that one project where it really made a difference.
Yep.
I did make a swatch.
Yep.
I'm very proud of
so-
myself.
Is that? I think I hear some listeners asking me to boo, boo, boo. Okay, I'm done with the swatching. That's just for all y'all that don't like
Here's the
swatching.
thing, I mean, we've gone over the swatching thing before. and
I
it's
like swatching.
I
hate
need half
you.
swatch.
Look, I hate swatching. I will do it if I absolutely have to.
Right.
Agree.
Honestly, I don't swatch for everything. I really don't.
No, I don't either.
I'll be honest.
I didn't swatch for this hat. I'll tell you right now.
And sometimes I'm unpleasantly surprised, and that's how that goes. But
Listen, I made my half swatch, which I steeked. I was
did you try to
supposed
put the
do
hat
it,
on
but-
over the headphones?
I did, and you know why?
I saw that.
Because I am like, I said I didn't swatch, right? And I'm like 90% sure this is going to be too small, but that's okay. I'm just going to
Well,
keep
you
making
also
it.
you haven't blocked it.
Yeah.
True.
And you've-
Also,
Since you didn't swatch, you have no idea what that yarn is going to
the
do.
reason, yeah, I know. So the reason why I don't usually swatch when it comes to a hat, because if it's too small, I give it to my kids. If it's too big, I can wear it, and then if it's just the right size, I can give it to Patrick.
There you go. Well, that's the thing also. Like, if you know enough people in different sizes and you don't care about giving stuff away,
I
like,
made this for you intentionally.
Totally. Do you know how many kid hats have been mistakes that I just went?
dude, I make hats that fit me, and Mariel's like, oh, that's for me now. And it's way too big, but she takes it anyway. Like, she has like half of my hats.
She does.
At this point.
Actually, this kind of flows into this comment that says, I think would be fun to hear more about why you choose to knit what you do and or how you search for things to knit, maybe how to avoid being knitfluenced instead of influenced in a bad way.
Oh, Lord.
Well, because you were saying how like one of the comments you just made was about like how, you know, it's your preference,
Right.
what you want to do.
Right.
And I think even as we talked about the wools and the needles and all of that, the wools, oh, wow. I can't believe I just said that. The yarns and the needles and all of that, that it's such a gray area. And that if a knitfluencer or other, whatever you want to call it, I think it's funny they use knitfluence. If anyone's telling you to do this or that or the other, and it's a very black and white response, that is probably the bad way.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is like, and I don't even have a problem with like people who follow the trends or whatever. Like, I really don't. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think the only thing that would be bad per se, quote unquote, is spending your time working on something you don't really want to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I don't understand that. This is a hobby.
If
Like,
you
we're doing it for fun.
If you enjoy the trends, then yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. But
Like-
if you're like, it's trending, the Pantone colors, it's this like poop brown. I guess I have to make everything in poop brown. I don't know if you saw the Pantone color this year, but
Yeah, it's like
brown.
mocha something, I think. I don't
All right.
know.
Well, I guess everything has to be brown. That like if you don't like brown, it's okay. You can.
Yeah, I
you
think
can make pink. Pink can always be your color.
But I think that's kind of like a everyday life sort of thing. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like we're all getting older. Maybe not, the viewers at home, but we're all getting to the point where it's, oh my God, I do not have time to do things that are in fashion anymore.
I don't have time to do things that don't bring me joy.
Well, that too. I guess this is not the venue for, in my opinion, your mileage may vary. This is not the venue for, I need to be doing what everybody else is doing. And I don't know a lot of knitters or crafters that are doing that. I mean, there's the make-alongs where everybody's making the same project, but I don't consider that like...
It's still a choice.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
you're choosing to partake in that. Nobody's forcing you to make the same sweater or the same hat or whatever as anybody else. Yeah, I don't know. I guess like if I'm picking a project, I usually start with the yarn.
Yeah.
I know some people start with the project, but I generally start with the yarn, and I look at the yarn and I'm like, what do you want to be? And then I look on Ravelry until I find the project that I want it to be.
Yarn next to the computer screen.
Yeah.
No, not that
No,
one.
I do. Totally.
See, I'm the complete opposite.
Yeah, see?
I will go on Ravelry and I'll be like, what looks fun today?
Yeah.
And then if I find something that looks fun today, I will go into the stash and I will see if I have the yarn to make it.
Right.
And if I don't have the yarn to make it, I go, well, that's a bummer. And then I find a new thing that says, what do we want to make today?
And that's two different ways of approaching the same issue.
I feel like I do both, depending on.
I
If
feel
I
like-
really want to work with this yarn, then I'm going to find something with it.
I
If
feel
really
like it
wanna
would
do that
be
pattern,
a lot better to choose based on the yarn that you have.
I don't know.
because I spend a lot of time looking at patterns that I do not have the correct yarn for.
Okay, to be fair though, like dyeing yarn has made that totally different because at this point I've got a pretty big selection of what I could possibly have for yarn. It usually turns into, Jess, dye me this please. I don't always have it on me. Your way is probably better in the respect of like actually working with what's in your stash instead of like,
I could have this in my stash.
because it's like I'm going to the store all the time.
When you have an inventory of fiber,
yeah, exactly.
I don't have stuff that's hand dyed, but like when you have an inventory of fiber, the same rules apply. You don't mess with your own stash, people. Okay, you don't.
Yeah,
you don't
hard.
do it. You don't use your own. No, that's for the store. This is for you. If you have a pattern and you're gonna make something, you gotta that's a separate thing.
I am very fortunate in that all of my stash is just for me.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. We use our own yarn. We dye our own yarn all the time.
I mean, either way, you're spending money.
Correct. And the yarn we buy it's wholesale and we're dyeing it ourselves. So it's not like I'm going to the store and buying new yarn every single time that I make a new project. Sometimes I do it in advance, like we're making a color and I'm like, I really want to make something with that. Can we make like a few extra skeins and I'll just use that later? But I am, like, as I said earlier, making a conscious effort to not do that as much this year. Trying not to do that.
Well, then you guys got to stop putting out colorways that I like. That's all I got to say. Because you put out that minty one and I was like, come on. Come on. It's really nice.
Thank you.
I usually go in and I type in dragons. And I see what pops up. And if I don't see anything I like, sometimes then I'll change it to dragon scales. And then if none of those look appealing, I'll just do a whole search on complicated patterns. And
so oddly specific.
But you know what? Looking at her projects, it explains a lot.
Oh my God, so much.
It explains so much.
If I see something in complicated patterns, then I try and find that and make sure it's not AI because that's becoming an issue.
That's driving me crazy.
That is becoming an issue.
Yes.
But then I usually save it and eventually I come back to it sometimes.
I hate going back over your saved patterns and you're like, who was that person that saved that? I am never going to knit that.
I will go and I'll be like,
I
why?
see your face.
I got rid of so many patterns in my Ravelry.
Like, who was this person? This person was not me.
This person was like 2008 Drea.
I am not the same person I was when I filled up this favorites list.
Yes.
Oh man, the amount of like scarf patterns I had from back in the day, and I was like, dude, I have never finished a scarf. That is not true. I finished my shield scarf. But no, other than that, I have never finished a legitimate scarf in my life, and I had like 20 saved. I got rid of like 3 pages in my Ravelry. Sorry guys, it wasn't you, it was me. Like the scarves are still beautiful, but
I created my Ravelry account in 2013, and I still have patterns and like cube projects from 2013.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel like cleaning it up. I just don't feel like going back and going through it. Because you know what? The second I do, I'm going to be like, wait, what was that thing I picked out literally 10 years ago?
I might want to do that now.
I went through my favorites the other day and there were literally patterns that had been taken off Ravelry that like they were no longer available on Ravelry and they're still hanging out in my favorites queue. Like, yeah, it is. But you're a different person. Like you change or you go through a period where you're like, I'm just throwing out there, like, I'm really enjoying knitting this thing with bobbles. Let me add a whole bunch of bobble projects to my favorites. And then you finish the project and you're like, if I ever knit another bobble, I'm going to kill something. And then you 3 years later, you go through the queue and you're like, which jackass put all these bobble projects on my favorites list? Like, maybe that's just me. I don't know.
I have done that.
Yes.
Who hacked into my library? Oh, it was me.
Period. And you're like, I'm really loving this one thing. And then years later, like a few years ago, I very cathartically took out all the sock patterns that I had saved because I'm like, I do not enjoy knitting socks. I'm not going to knit socks anymore.
I found so many sock patterns that are perfectly fine. The patterns are perfectly lovely. but I had a very, very, very short-lived idea that I was going to be a toe-up knitter for socks.
Didn't like that, huh?
And I didn't like it. I did a sock. I never finished it. Like, I did learn how to do it. It was not for me.
No, that's fair.
But man,
You were convinced.
the ambition was there. And do you know how many of those patterns I went into going, oh yeah, that looks good, let's do this. And then you go in and it's like, oh, toe up. Why is that there?
In 2017, I added like at least 50 shawls to my favorites.
Tina.
Because you go through a phase where you're like, this is what I want to knit.
And then but then I still look at them and I'm like, I still kind of want to make that. Not right now.
You know what? You don't get rid of it until you're positive you're never
I
going to do
know.
it.
And I'm just like, no,
Look,
I'm going to
sometimes
keep
there's
it.
ones that it may still happen, but it's like you're still. Listen, I have a stained glass like shawl in there that I keep looking at because it looks awesome, and at the same time, I'm like, I don't know if I have the wherewithal for that.
There are paid patterns in my Ravelry that I am not making.
Yeah, no, same.
Oh.
Hey, listen, I went through a period a few years ago when I was just adding tons of sweaters to my list. And I'm at the point now where I'm like, I have no interest in knitting a bottom up sweater.
Oh,
I did one,
Yeah.
Mariel's outlet sweater. That's maybe if I ever were to make that again, I would do it. I do not enjoy bottom up sweaters. I want top down. I don't know. It's just my preference.
But yeah,
But I still have them.
long story short, there's our rhyme and reasons, and you can always
They're
use
all over the place.
You can always use Jess's keywords to just go on a dragon journey, a complex dragon journey because you have the complex pattern.
yeah.
I feel like that should be the title of her autobiography, A Complex Dragon Journey. I feel like that would work.
Okay.
God, wow, that's
Wow.
like,
There we go.
I love it.
Jess, a complex dragon journey.
There you go.
Forward,
You're welcome.
Forward by a red dragon. That's it for today's episode. For additional content and opportunities to connect with us.
Me.
No, not just you, us, all of us.
Fine.
Check out our website at pardonmystash.com. You can tune in next time for more laughs, tears, and drama. Oh, I'm sorry, Drea.
It's me.
At pardonmystash.com.